and student at KTH in aerospace engineering. Is it too loud? Last week I was actually up almost in space. I was in microgravity for about 10 minutes and testing one of my experiments that I first started with the idea at KTH. And just to give you a little teaser, we'll start directly with a little video of the flight. So this is one of the few parabolas we did. We did 30 parabolas, and this is just to show how everything floats around in my energy before we dive into the subject. Here's the free-floating area, very bumpy with all the difference in G. The pilot is not very good. And then, of course, I had to bring my little plush toy. It was kind of the face of the mission. And then we go back, after just a few 20 seconds, back to normal gravity. And so, yeah, that's the first step, basically, to going to space, I think. And just to make sure that we know where we are headed here, I would like to just first thank the other speakers, because they made kind of an introduction for my subject. They really talked about how we are going to go back to space and to where we left 50 years ago, to the moon first, and then to Mars. And when we think about it, actually the moon is quite nice. When you see Earth that big in the sky, you think, okay, I could live here, home is not that far. And we have already had astronauts there, a few astronauts during the Apollo era. And they were only here for some days, of course, so we don't have a lot of intuition about how they would react during a long-term stay there. Of course, there would be a lot of medical issues, probably technical issues, but I think with the psychological part it would be quite okay because we are still close to Earth. But what if we were to go to Mars? It's really not the same picture that you see. Well, actually, if you look at the sky and you know where to look these days, you can see Mars approximately the same size in the sky, except it's a little bit brighter because it's more orange than the Earth. And this picture makes me really wonder about the way there. This would be, as Christopher said, I think earlier, around 6 months journey. Maybe we can narrow it down to 3 months with better technology. And it would be quite cold, lonely, and dark and dead. And I really wonder how astronauts would react in this kind of situation. But let's take it a bit further, and let's say you were about to go to Mars for a mission as a tourist. How would you react? So that was actually what we had 2 years ago. 1 year and a half ago, during the course human space flight, we had a mission to Mars to send 30 tourists, and round trip to Mars, 3 years mission, and then what do? And to me it feels like it's not just about tourism, like we've said, space tourism is about to be the new big thing in space exploration and human space flight, but just thinking about tourism and tourists as normal people, just wealthy normal people, you just think, okay, those people were not really trained and they probably don't have the same psychological effects for them. So actually, to me, it's not just about sending tourists to space, it's just sending regular people there, because everything will be shifted back. Again, we don't really know what's going to happen when we send people to Mars. So during this mission, we had to design a few things. And I was in the life support system team, and so we designed everything around the human. It goes from radiation protection, sports, clothes, food, air and water, and also hygiene. And as I was saying, with this, the next slide is really just a paradigm, new paradigm for space exploration, just making sure you go with the psychological comfort of people and the physical comfort, because we really don't know how we would react in this really uncharted environment. And so here you go. Good thing SpaceX revealed their BFR, because some artists just did that as a fan-made. And well, this is quite what we came up with our design during the human spaceflight course. And you have a lot of things that come up with the life support system, probably in the front, the water tanks, just to make sure you have probably radiation shielding from it and stuff like this, exercise devices. And when it comes to hygiene, how do astronauts shower in space? I'm sure that's probably the second most asked question to astronauts. The first one being, how do you go to the toilet? And, well, actually, when you answer those questions, it's almost this. Astronauts do not shower in space. And I know they don't really, I've talked to, when I was on my internship at the European Astronaut Center, I had Samantha Authority. She's a strong woman, a fighter pilot, and she said, no, I really don't need to shower in space. It's okay. I can just go there and camp. It's fine. And, well, new paradigm, you know, I'm trying to see if that would really work, and could we maybe implement some new stuff. And so when we see this design, actually there were some showers inside this, but from there you really don't see what this is. It's actually probably some of the designs on the left. Those are designs from the past and from today. On the left, it's one attempt to really recreate the shower feeling. You just spray water on top, you have fans pushing the water as if gravity was doing the work, and then you have a vacuum hose just to suck the particles of water at the bottom of this curtain. There were some almost regular shower tests also done on parabolic flights, and on the right you have what we have today, which is showering with wet towels and dry shampoo. And of course it takes very little time to do this, wet towels and dry shampoo, because you want, you just decrease the amount of comfort for better time management. And so the less time they spend on this, the more they can spend experimenting and just having social times and sleeping. So that's why they would take this, because the solution on the left was actually taking up to 2 hours just to shower. So that's really not what you want. So trying to go further, I think it was just the context that was like this. But I just decided, okay, let's blend a shower with a spacesuit. That was the first drawing back in February 2017. So you would have water circulation inside the suit, and it would be probably a full body suit. I mean, the concept is still running. We are looking at what we could do. And you would probably have a possibility to rub yourself through the suit directly on top of it. And of course, with water recycling that you have on the ISS today, you could have a decent amount of water savings, and even if you, let's say, spend 10 liters of water inside the suit, and you have 90% of recycling, that's 1 liter per day. That's already what astronauts are doing today. They are spending 1 liter a day in the wet towels. So maybe you find a better solution, more satisfying for the body and just for yourself from a psychological standpoint. And this is what we came up with. It ended up with a new logo, because you'll see in a minute we, of course, had a mission. And it was just a little change in the design we had, was to have discretized jet injection. So maybe instead of having a huge flow, you could reduce even the power and just have some jets going around and just having them a few at a time. And this is the any transition where we go to test flight on ZeroG again, because the idea caught up the French Space Agency, the CNES or CNES, and with Nova's Space, they had some kind of competition for students, and they were taking up to 3 teams to fly in micro-G and do an experiment that they had designed. So I went on with another PhD student and 3 students from my school in Paris, and we went on to do a parabolic flight. And there, directly, this is our first parabola, just to give you a little feeling. So we'll see in the following slides how really parabolic flight comes, but this is the area where we are still in steady flight, and we are just preparing. Is it buffering? Okay. We are just preparing the 2G phase, because before going to 0G you have to have the 2G phase for 20 to 30 seconds, then micro G 20, 25 seconds, and then again almost 2Gs. And that's the price you have to pay to be weightless for a few seconds. And the guy in orange is just for security. Others, the three others we see are here our coordinator, and we are just tuning these on the ground, just trying to see what 2Gs will do to us. And I think it's almost there. Just notice that I might smile a lot. I don't know if it's still because I was happy or because the injection just did not feel easy in the airplane, was acting too much. I think we are on, it might be, yes, now the 2G phase starts. We see the guy sitting down, it's more comfortable of course, and everything floats around. We have our free flight zone in the back and our experiment in front. And now it's any second, it's going to fly and do an injection. Here we go. My hair was kept long for 2 years just for this moment. I think it's because I just try to take in as much as I can. And then we go back to 2Gs. Actually, the thing is quite fun, but honestly, any talks I had with people who have done this, they were describing it to me, I wouldn't, the first part of I really didn't understand what was happening. It's not as you can imagine. It's if you are ever on the airplane, but when coming back from France to Sweden yesterday, on the airplane we had a few turbulences, and it's really the feeling that you have on the airplane starts going back down, and you just feel a little bit lifted up, which this time it just goes and continues and continues and continues, and then all of a sudden, okay, you have this feeling of nothingness. It's really, really, really impressive. Okay, let's continue. So, this is on that, what I was describing with for start by rising to 2G, then 0G, and then 2G again. And this is usually the picture that you see on the internet and people tell about, but what they told us and showed us up in the space is this picture, and it really feels a lot more impressive when you see this. We are actually on a little piece of orbit by doing this parabola. And once you have done the flight, you come back and you think, okay, so you have this picture, you have the Earth inside your head, and now you feel like, okay, Christian did nothing. I was facing. But no, actually, no. I think if you ever do a flight like this, try to picture this, and the moment will stay even longer, I think. So I just would like to show you a little picture out of the window, a video, sorry. It was from one of the two other student teams. They had one extra team member on board, and they could do this kind of video. And you really see how inclined this flight path is. And then just to make sure you don't get afraid inside the plane, you have the engines actually doing and you really feel like, okay, no, we are falling. And sometimes just your reference range shifts all of a sudden. If you just end up in a very weird situation when you do kind of a flight position, it happens to me sometimes. I felt like the plane was completely on the side, because I was really focusing on just my vision. It was really disturbing, and some other times you really feel like, after some time, you also feel like you are falling. Probably after you see by the window, or just you hear and the noise and everything, you feel like you're falling with the airplane. It's kind of, it's a lot of different feelings on the flight. So coming back to what's inside it, of course, we were still inside the plane, so we need to fix everything so that it doesn't fall when we do this great dive. This is on the left part how the plane looks like, regular seats on the back, and then you have the experiment area, and the free floating area where we had the opportunity to have the French astronaut with also a pilot there, and some guests for French TV shows. And this is the experiment that we did during the flight. So still in order to experiment on the shower suit, we had really limited space and also a lot of constraints when it came to doing the experiment. So we had to do it on a sample, where also very late problems on the experiments. We had to redo a backup. And this is the experiment that flew. In the middle part you have all the experiment zone. On the right would be water tanks to hold up all of the water we needed. And just everywhere in this absorbing material. And well, the results. We have, it was only Wednesday, last Wednesday, so I still had a lot of processing to do, but we have some interesting results. I don't know if you can see the bubbles. It's quite, I mean, seeing it in person was completely different. You just see that they do not really have any preference for where they would go. And unfortunately, I think those bubbles were really not good in the washing part of the experiment, because the jets would, the injection of the water was a lot faster because of those bubbles, because they didn't have any friction. But then, due to surface tension, the water would follow around the bubble, and the bubble would stick to our simulated skin that we had and that we put dirt on. And yeah, the water was just avoiding everything. So most of the cleaning we did was actually in 2Gs and 1G. And even if the experiment was not a full success, at least we know exactly where not to go and avoid any bubbles, better jet flow. And of course, this is a lot of dirt for risking asking open space. I don't know if this one will work. This is some of the aberrations we had to do in flight. Maybe I can pass it really quickly. So between 5 parabolas, you have a little pause, a little break of 5 minutes, and you can actually work on your experiment. We really tried to automatize everything, but we didn't have to do anything during parabolas because you really, honestly, you have very little time compared to what you imagine you would have time to on ground, because everything is completely different. You lose orientation, and I mean, I don't know if it's just me or if it's this, but it felt like it was a lot faster when doing the experiment there. But it was also probably because of the intensity of the experiment. Okay, I have 2 other videos for the downside of a micro-G flight is you see people doing very fast on top, it's negative Gs. You experience them a lot in a parabolic flight. When I came down, I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's it's microgravity, but it's a lot of those kinds of stuff. And when you are on the experiment, actually, you try to hold them and get the 2Gs seated. I did probably 20 parabolas seated in front of the experiment because my colleague was sick after 10, so he had to go to the seating area, and I was just at home with it. And I completely broke one part of the experiment, I think. I mean, I just unscrapped it just because the negative G was holding me up to the ceiling. So that was one part, and just another part. It's your behavior in 2G. They really tell you if you don't want to get sick in a parabolic flight, the 2G parts are the worst. So this is just parabola, but when you come back, I really did what you don't have to do in 2G. And it's you don't have to move your head because all the internal here gets completely unbalanced. And usually you try to stay on your back. You can sit. Some people will stand. And I mean that's part of the parabolic flight. You try to enjoy every type of G you can. And so towards the end I was just not even noticing, because probably after 15 parabolas you don't even get the drug injection working anymore, so you're just fine to go. Alright, I think I need to do, before I end up this one, I need to do a little, is it 100? Yeah. Just a little comparison. One more, we had a comparison of the orbit around the Earth. Let's do a comparison of what it's like to play with stuff in space. I had two Christians. So yeah, that's when you really see it floats kind of like the same way, and it's such an amazing thing that we can have those platforms to experiment micro-G inside. I mean, on Earth we have all the money that we spend to send people into space. But of course, we need money to send people into space. It's great. And okay, you will talk more about this if you have time. But anyway, I just want to finish by showing this little picture that I took back at the European Astronaut Center. That's a trick if you ever go there, to go in the mock-up vehicle, take a picture upside down, turn it around, and there you go, you have an ISS shot. So I really hope someday to blend this picture with the parallel flight and actually do it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for this exciting talk. Questions from the audience?
Your experiment was to test this space suit or shower suit, was it?
Yes.
So what was the advantage of doing that in ZeroG if you have the water pressurized through the suit? It would work fairly similar in 1G as in ZeroG, wouldn't it?
Yes, we had this thought that due to the dimensions of the water, just the water layer you have on top of you, it's really just the flow of the water that drives the behavior. So it wouldn't have much difference, but we really tested also the materials of the suit and trying to see if, for example, a hydrophobic compared to a hydrophilic suit would have different behavior. Because our goal was to wash the sample of skin we had, and we really came with some assumptions about how it would work, and we wanted to see if it would hold in microgravity. That was.
So what are the plans now for the suit?
The plans for the suit would be try to fly a real piece of suit this time, because it took us a lot of time to figuring out how to transfer the experiment on ourselves to an experiment on the sample. We couldn't have the same kind of dirt or just sweat on top of the sample, so those parts that we would have in a space flight, we couldn't simulate them, and just having a skin that was close enough was also challenging. So the goal would be to do this directly on the skin, and of course to change from having a transparent material, so the casing was actually acting as a suit, and we had a layer of added material inside to show the material behavior. And since then if we were to do such another experiment, it would be based on feelings on the skin and just see more if you feel washed. I mean, just by the feeling you could say if it worked or not, and then do sampling on top of the skin if you can have any bacteria or stuff like this.
and then we wouldn't need the transparency, the translucent suit anymore, and we could probably go into materials which have much extreme behaviors, such as really super hyper hydrophobic material, for example, which we couldn't use there because it's like coating in micro nanofibers, and just because you have those nanofibers on top of your surface, this is what repels the water. But then it coats the material opaque, and you really couldn't do this kind of experiment. So what we would do, yes, would be on top of human, based on feelings, and completely go maybe for other materials. And first do on pools where you could at least have some kind of feeling without the weight of the suit.